I'd like to call to order the USD 489 Board of Education meeting for Monday, June 19th, 2023. The agenda was put out Friday on board docs. We will be approving the agenda shortly. I appreciate everybody that came out tonight. We do have a link also on our website where you can watch the school board meetings each evening, and also on Facebook with that. So again, I appreciate everybody being here. First, order of business, 1.2, approval of the agenda.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I would like to add an item to the agenda, please.
Go ahead and make a motion.
I move that we take some time to talk about Kansas 72-1163 and discuss the statute, maybe get input from Mr. Jeter, and discuss the progress of all the required needs assessments for the year and the upcoming budget.
Okay.
And also about how that conflicts with our board policy on budget planning, DB, which says that each year the board shall conduct an assessment of the educational needs of each attendance center in the district. And
Okay.
as I understand, shall means must.
Alan, what is your, Jess is going to have to reread your motion here.
I move that we add to the agenda is Kansas 72-1163.
Slow down. 72-.
1163, pardon me, and discuss that statute with Mr. Jeter.
Okay.
The board, and get the opinion of all the board about this statute, and to see if everybody's aware of it.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from anyone on the board?
Yes, I just want to point out that we as a board should understand our legal, what Mr. Jeter might say about this statute, and put it on how we should address that, and if we're doing that and following the board policy.
Okay, great. Any other board members have a discussion item?
I'd like to pull 2.9, the calendar.
No, we're not on the consent. We're on the agenda.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm eager.
Any other discussion on the motion and the second? If not, I will call for a vote. All in favor of Alan's motion, say yes.
Yes.
All against, vote no. No.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Can I get a roll call vote?
Sure. I'll have, okay.
Wait, it's not up.
Sorry. Just came up.
Refresh.
Kurt, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, Alan Clark, yes. Craig Pallister, no. Lori Hurdle, yes. Tammy Wellbrock, no. Kurt Weidner, yes. Ken Brooks, no. Megan Zampari Wilcox, no. Motion failed, 3-4.
Okay.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, vote yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, vote no.
No.
Okay, the agenda has been approved. I will go ahead at 1.3, the USD 49 District Mission, Vision, Core Values, and Strategic Plan. At each board meeting, I like to go through some of this information, just as a reminder for the board as well as everyone out here or watching. The mission of 489 is to provide a quality learning experience for every student in every classroom every day. To support the mission of the district, the USD 49 board includes supporting a vision that encompasses high student achievement, high effective staff, effective and positive communications, and effective management of resources. Also vital to keeping focus on the district's mission and vision are that the USD 489 Board of Education supports the district's core values, being a champion for all kids, bringing your best every day, carrying the banner for your school and district, selling and creating possibilities and opportunities for students for their future. Okay, now moving down to 2.1. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to pull 2.9.
Okay.
Out also.
Okay, I've got
2.9.
2.9, Jess. If you would go ahead and, if it's possible, put it at 6.8?
We have to approve it first?
No, that doesn't have to be.
No.
Oh, okay, okay, sorry.
Okay, is there anything else?
Okay,
Mr. President, I'd like
Yes.
to pull 2.2.
2.2 HR,
No, I'm sorry, that 2.1, our minutes.
okay, 2.1 board meeting minutes. If we could just put that at 6.9.
Also 2.3, Mr. President.
Okay, hang on, I'll wait on Jess to get, what was that, Mr. Park?
Disposal of obsolete district property.
2.3, disposal of obsolete district property. Are we
And
ready for 7.0, I believe, on that?
No, it'd be 6.9
6.9?
something. One.
Oh, 6.9 just
I don't
continued?
know what it does. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Okay,
2.7,
2 points.
personnel.
Okay, I do have a question, and if you want to go ahead, once my clarification. We do have one retirement tonight. Is that the only thing you want pulled?
No, sir.
No, okay, I was just going by last meeting, so, okay. 2.7 personnel transactions. I'll just wait a second, then we'll need to, is there any others before we refresh the computers? If not, just hang with us here.
Is that it?
Got it?
Mr. Viner, did you have?
No.
No, he's
Mr.
taken
Brooks
care
and
of.
Mr. Viner agree.
Yep.
Okay,
I need to refresh.
okay, refresh.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as now presented.
Second. I have a motion to approve the consent.
Let's pull the, sorry, the
Oh,
Board of
the-
Education calendar down.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's, Jess, I think it's 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.7, and 2.9. If I'm not mistaken.
So I withdraw that motion since we're going to be getting a new one.
Okay. As soon as we're done here, Tammy, go ahead.
Huh?
As soon as we're ready, go ahead.
We gotta redo this, we gotta hit this thing again.
Okay, next.
Now you refresh.
Do we need to refresh now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you make a motion?
I would now like to make the new motion of approving the consent agenda with the 6 items that have remained.
I second it. Any discussion? All in favor of the consent agenda with the 6 items removed? I call for the vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. All opposed, vote no. Okay, we're ready for 3.1, USD 49 Achievement of Excellence Recognition. Ron?
You bet. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to recognize, let's have everyone stand up. The hardest working crew, Monday through Thursday, in the city of Hayes.
That's right.
Yes.
Come on up, guys. Or you guys.
Come on up.
That's a traffic jam.
Yeah, this crew, if you have had the luxury of being on 13th Street from about 11:30 until 12:30, it's these people are totally responsible for chaos.
The backup.
They are causing traffic jams all over the city. This hardworking group, and I pulled in the other day after they were done, and I'm telling you, these ladies were, and Tim, sorry Tim, they were sweaty, they were red-faced from the heat, and but they were still smiling and laughing and joking. And this summer, we have 15 nutrition staff who have, I guess, I want to say signed up, volunteered to be a part of this. And so far, they have served between, on a low day, 450 meals, all the way up to 950 meals on another day.
Wow.
They are-
Whoa, yes.
That's feeding a lot of kids in our community. They are averaging about 810 meals a day. That's just amazing. Each kid is getting a breakfast and a lunch, and on Thursdays they are getting 2 breakfasts and 2 lunches. So that's double the work. They get Friday off, but we're working double time on Thursday. So Thursdays are probably the day they don't like as much. Last year, we did drive-through meals at Hayes High, and we averaged 650 meals a day. So you can see we're feeding more than we fed last year. So we just wanted to acknowledge, take some time. The group that we have, and I'm not sure here who's all here, but if I read your name, wave your hand.
Wave.
Heather Stringer, Casey Staub, Laura Welbrock, Christina Ellis, Sarah Beckner, Tasha Degenhart, Ashley Lang, Yim Kwok, Cindy Mason, Samantha Loffmeyer, Marissa Loffmeyer. Did I say it wrong? That's how it's spelled. Okay.
We get that a lot.
What is it?
Low.
Oh, Loffmeyer, sorry. That's a little German in there probably. Melissa Leiper on this one. Ooh. Tina Steskel. There you go.
Uh-huh.
Is that German?
No, that's.
Cheryl Full and Mary Hood. So the other key people are Jamie Boyle, who Jamie is the jack of all trades for our nutrition services, and Tim Booth. He's he gives a little testosterone to the group, I guess. And of course, our fearless leader, Jessica Yonker. These people are amazing. Jessica, you want to say anything now?
Okay. Well, he's pretty much said all of it, but I'm just really, really proud of our team, that the ones that are here and the ones that are not here. They're doing an awesome job. You know, obviously it's kind of challenging when you have no idea how many kids are going to show up. 450 to 950 is a big range to go from in 3 weeks. So every day is a new challenge, but these guys take it with stride, and I'm just really proud of all that they're doing. And obviously it's a need in our community, and it's appreciated by a lot of families that are taking advantage of it. So we're happy to do it, and I'm just happy I get to work with all these hardworking people. So.
All right.
How long, when is the last meal served in the summer?
In July.
July 27th. So, and
Stay
we,
cool.
yeah. So Monday through Thursdays through July 27th, except for the week of 4th of July, we're taking off Monday and Tuesday. So,
Thank you for the work you do.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
I'd like to point out, that's my sister-in-law, Cindy Mason.
I'd like to point out just briefly that I've helped with this program a little bit when I got here. We did our first summer in 2019 together, and that summer we were so excited to get above 200 in a day. And also, besides just serving and organizing and getting these foods to people on this day in this heat, there's also statistical tracking that has to be perfect. And the fact that we get reimbursed fully for this and we have none of these issues of it's amazing. It is amazing. And to do that for between 450 to 950 kids every day of the 4 days a week that it's astonishing. It is beautiful to feed children at this capacity.
Well, thank you. I agree.
Good job. Well said.
Yes, thank you.
Ladies, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
He didn't tell Dan.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had
did
to
you pull
trick
his
this guy to
sneaky?
get him in the room. I did not. Because he's a big guy and I'm a big guy. It'd been like a bear wrestling match out there trying to get him in the door. So I tricked him by saying my microphone where Shanice got him in, then I held him there. I was like, oh, wow. Come on, Megan, wrap it up. Here we go. Yeah. Dan walked out of Hayes High a few days ago. Yeah. And he told me that was hard because all of a sudden he was now driving by a place that he could walk back in at any time, and now all of a sudden he can't get in there anymore. So, but he's officially retiring tonight. So Dan has been, he's the guy who makes this all happen. Sound, all the cameras. If you've known on his last board meeting, he brings in the tiniest little cameras you've ever seen in your life. But supposedly they're better. So, and the interesting fact is this is Dan's 249th board meeting.
Actually, Ron, I told you wrong. This is my 429th.
429.
That's what I thought it was. I was like,
Because you said 499.
You said 299.
Yeah. So
Oh, well, hey.
429.
Well, anyway, so we're going to call him Mr. 429.
Okay.
429.
There you go.
Now, the number on here is wrong. But, man, we just appreciate everything you've done for this district. I told him, I said, you know, his impact in the classroom is unmeasured, and what he's done for kids, but this stuff is important to our operations or our district, and the time that he does to set it up, tear it down, fix the issues, make sure it's high quality. So, Dan, awesome. Thanks so much. Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Now it goes back to the start. We'll never see him again.
I think he needs to come back next month and get an even.
Yeah,
30.
even numbers.
Yeah.
429 is a lot.
Okay, we are ready for 4.1, public comment. I'll just read very quickly. The board requests that all members of the public respect the rules outlined below. Speakers are asked to start with stating their name and address where they reside. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes to make presentations. The speakers are asked to make only points that have not been previously made. Except to clarify questions, board members shall not interact with speakers at the open forum. And the board asks that all members of the public respect these rules so that everyone that wants an opportunity to provide input to the board that has not will be given a chance to speak to the board. Do I have anyone that would like, if you want to come up, please, and just give us your name and address.
Hi, I'm Becky Hill, and I'm from Hayes. And I don't do speeches or this, but I wanted to mention First off, I definitely thank you for the ability to watch these at home, because through different health things, I haven't been able to be here. So I am able to do that at home. So I thank you for that. Anyway, I wanted to talk on the finances a little bit. And, you know, when Ron brought out and told you guys about the city taxes, that the sales tax, the amount, I mean, you had such glee. I mean, it was like, this is more than what we even thought of. And so I just wanted to remind you all who's paying that. And also, one of the reasons that those taxes are so much higher than maybe what you had seen in the past is because the massively increased cost of goods and services. So obviously, people are paying more to get what they need. Therefore, the taxes are going to be, they're going to be paying more tax. So that's going to raise that. For those of us knew what was coming with the prices, the inflation, all this other stuff, way prior to this getting voted in, we knew what was coming. And I already had many friends who could barely make it to the end of the month, and many didn't. So I just want to say that, I mean, you guys obviously don't have friends and family who aren't making it through the end of the month, and I am so grateful and glad that you don't. But I know that with all the increases in the property taxes, in the taxes in the stores, on all the goods and services people get, they're not making it. So just remember that you guys are stewarding. Please steward well what you've been given. And I want to say, so how do you steward? You know, you ask questions. And I want to thank Alan Park for all the digging in and the questions he does, and sometimes Kurt too. And I just noticed when I was here for the meeting with that $19+ million approval of something, Alan asked questions, but you could see the rolling eye attitude, the impatience, all this other stuff. And I just thought, man, you guys blew in that meeting. And yes, I know you want to get done, you want to get out, you want to get on with life, but you blew through 19-point-something million without much. And I just, I don't know. I think of the people that aren't making it because of all this increase. But again, I'm glad your friends and family aren't that.
Okay, I'm going to stop you. We're at the 3 minutes. I don't mean to be rude, but we need to stick with that 3 minutes for everyone the same. I appreciate you addressing the board.
Sure.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to address the board at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will go ahead to 5.1, the superintendent's report. Ron?
You bet. Talk a little bit about the bond. Roosevelt Elementary, we have kicked off, included some pictures. Really has, just last week was really just probably the first time that we have had anything substantial done, including we stripped, just basically stripped down some rooms. We're starting some of the upgrades. Of course, you've noticed the grading out on the north side, which will be where the big addition will go. But right now, things are progressing well at Roosevelt. We're off to a good start, and we'll hopefully still making a lot of decisions about Roosevelt, but for the most part, going really well. Hayes High, we have finished design. Design is completely done now. Right now, what is happening, Nabholz has taken those designs and working on the bid packages that will then be sent out here in a few weeks. And then we'll have those bids back around the 1st of August. And then at that point, then work will go into making sure all the bids are where they, the work can be done by everyone who bids. So the timeline will be right after Labor Day is when we'll probably kick off construction for the Hayes High project. So kind of just honing in a little bit on where we're at. We started some have had great conversations about O'Loughlin, as now we're in what was called schematic design. With O'Loughlin, had a great meeting on Friday with the O'Loughlin staff, and just saw some initial concepts on what's being considered for that. The staff overall, Renee's done a good job of participating in those meetings and giving input, as well as, and our staff was just really overjoyed with what they were seeing. We're still a long ways from the finish line on O'Loughlin, but we're really excited about the direction that's going. So, I mean, overall, I think we're very happy with the progress that's being made and what's being completed. So, I've also included the calendar update for next year. With negotiations, the teachers requested to add 6 collaboration in-service days to the calendar. That means basically we'll have one Monday a month during each month where staff will have the opportunity to work on some goals and initiatives, district initiatives for professional learning. And so we're excited about that. This will give opportunity to really hone in on some of the work that has really been lagging and just needed time to do. And that's the staff. The staff have initiated that, and it's so cool that they wanted to see this done. So what that basically means is we'll have no more early release days. I think there's been going to be there's been some joy about that, probably from parents and as well as staff, because those are tough days to try and work everything out. And just we also, it was very important to us as we readjusted this calendar that we took care of our classified employees, so really won't change any work calendars for our classified employees. They'll still have the same number of days, work days, as they did previous year. An update on the Hayes High logo work. We went through the whole process and making some determinations on mascot and what that might mean for Hayes High. Came to the conclusion that we would remain the Hayes High Indians. So a planning team has been formed, and we'll work on this Hayes High logo brand this summer. And basically the goals of this team is just that at the end they will have one new unified logo brand with a style guide that will kind of keep everybody within the boundaries of this is what you can use if you're going to brand Hayes High. It will include Hayes High Indians because that was made through our process that we went through. Our colors will remain maroon and gold, and the logo will not be represented with a human face or likeness. And that was through the process that was decided. So just wanted to give you an update. We're hopefully going to be making a presentation to the board just to share. This is not, and this is going back, the idea was that if we did change the mascot, that would require a board vote. The logo work will just be sharing to the board of what has the team at the high school has determined. And they're just going to be meeting over the next 4 weeks to do this. So it's going to be quick and furious, but the goal is to get it done before the start of school. So they will have it at the start of the school. And also, I just included just some information. I thought it was neat. I saw that actually in the Hayes Post, that Hayes High FFA are in first place in the ritual demonstration leadership event at the FFA convention. I have no idea actually what ritual demonstration is, but Kurt can probably explain it. So,
it's their opening and closing to a meeting. They all have their parts and sayings, and
so very cool. Just thought I wanted to share that if you hadn't seen that. Any questions?
I don't have questions, but I think I'll go ahead, if you don't mind, and read those names from the FFA.
Absolutely.
Or do you want to?
Well, it was Jalen Weiler, Marissa Wassinger, Carly Nair, Amelia Yeager, Micah Zimmerman, and Jaden Faunestiel.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Yes.
And they will go on and represent Kansas at Nationals in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
They'll represent the state of Kansas, so.
Very cool.
Ron, what is the budget that we're looking at for remodel at O'Laughlin?
The budget we're looking at, I believe, is 10 million. Don't make exact, but I'm pretty sure that's what the budget.
Okay.
On the Hayes High design, if I remember correctly, and you correct me please, that was including gender-based bathrooms, all at the high school or not?
No, it was not,
No.
there was no gender-based bathrooms.
Private.
They're individual private bathrooms.
No.
Oh, they're private bathrooms,
Yes.
which includes a open for men and women, both areas?
No.
Well, okay, are you talking the sinks?
Yes, I'm assuming there's individual bathrooms.
Yes.
And those are the only, at Hayes High, except for the locker rooms. And
No, those are not the only well, there's some bathrooms on the upper level that are where community, and then there's some down by the auditorium.
there are,
Men's,
Men and
women's, and
women.
families in the.
and then an option for
Yeah.
a family-based one.
Yeah.
Okay, so has the parents been surveyed about that change? And are we planning on
Well,
doing
there
that?
was no change. I mean, this was just done through the design process. And just so you know, the design process is done. It's over. I mean, it's out, and those drawings are being formulated, so there will be no change there.
So you don't foresee any changes in our design?
No.
We're building for any of
No.
it? Okay.
And we reviewed that
Yeah, it was
information
reviewed
at
by
which
the
meeting?
board. Yeah, it was reviewed by the board.
We did that
Yeah.
when?
A couple months ago.
And we had our
3 months ago.
representatives here.
Yeah.
And if I recall, those bathrooms are less expensive than
Yes.
gendered bathrooms,
Yes.
and
They're
they're
proven more
safer because we can
Yes.
see kids not inside the toilet, but.
Yeah, we had quite
they're
a
safer.
conversation on it that
Like,
evening.
Yeah, that was
So there are
presented.
lots of reasons why we went that direction.
But we were reviewed, we didn't sign off on it though either.
Right.
I want that to be clear too. We were reviewed, but we didn't vote that that's our plan. This board did not vote that.
There was, okay. 6.1, action discussion items. Request for approval of the master collective bargaining agreement for 23-24. This is the final, I guess, step of our teacher negotiations that we've concluded. Ron?
Yeah, I mean, you have what's in, I mean, you've been updated several times on tentative agreements. The teachers have ratified it. Just the final step that gets everything kind of closed up officially and lets HR and payroll and everyone get moving. We just need you to approve the agreement and what's in front of you. I'll answer specific questions if you have anything specific.
I had the privilege, I guess, or I was drafted to be on the negotiations team, and visiting with the teachers year in and year out, one of the big things they talked about with the board, with the teachers, was the trust level. Do we have the trust level? That is what our board previously, if you have been following the board and teacher negotiations over the last 5 years, 4 years, the last several years, we've been able to get an agreement with the teachers in May or June. The previous board, I think, that started the negotiations and it ran in, did not settle until February. The teachers worked without a new contract till February of that incoming year. So I want to thank the teachers negotiation group, Ron, the board negotiating group, because the teachers brought back to us and said, we feel like we trust, the trust level is so much better than it was, and we like to be able to see the openness and get a contract at the beginning of the summer and not have to do it once school starts. Nothing that I spent over my 30 years almost in public education is more demoralizing than to work without a contract and don't think you're being appreciated by the board. So, thank you.
I might add just that we are adding $1,825 to the base, plus horizontal and vertical movement for teachers. And then we're also have added some longevity bonuses for teachers in years 25 on up. 25 through 29 is $1,800, and 30 is $2,100.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
2,100 added to their salary. So that was something the teachers negotiated, and the board agreed, or I think has agreed to that. So that's, and plus some salary and benefits that will be increased because of that.
And I think the negotiations leading up to this has been able to help us. I checked with Ron last week. As of today, unless something happened today, we have all of our teachers hired for next school year. We have no vacancies. If you go to many school districts, they still have 10, 15, 40 or 50 teaching positions still available here in the middle of June, and some of them will never be filled. So that is a positive.
Very, real positive.
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question for Mr. Hipp or Ron. On the chart that I have that's underneath this line item, if I go to the green, estimated raised cost, that's going to be salary increases. If I run that across, that's going to be increased. So that's how we would come up with that that 4.35?
Yeah.
Okay. So then
we estimate, and it's always a little bit of an estimate because we're taking the last day of school, everybody that was in those positions, doing the calculation on that. So it doesn't always match then because we have
hirings and changes.
Right, but if you had everybody coming back, which is typically the way you would calculate that percentage, we're at about 4.35 for the 1825 that goes onto the base, plus horizontal and vertical movement.
Okay, so then the next three, the health, longevity, salary, schedule, corrections,
Right.
is what gets us to the 8.57?
Right, when you add all that together, so if you look at total increased cost of compensation, including the 5% increase we had in health insurance, the total increased cost is about 8.57. For certified staff, for everybody under the negotiated agreement.
Right, at the beginning, but it would be at that beginning, that'd be that step one slot.
Yes. Yeah, actually, when we calculate that, it's as if everybody came back, moved up, moved over.
But the
It's all of
4.35,
those, right.
the 4.5, the 3.5.
The actual percentage will be a little bit different because, Dan's leaving and we bring in Jake.
Yeah,
So there's a little bit of difference there when you go actual year over year, but to do the calculation, you
But also,
base it on last day of school.
but also the teacher that's at the 22, 23 is going to be less.
Right.
Ron, did you have anything else on this that you wanted to make the board aware of on
No, I don't believe
negotiations?
so.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I make a motion to approve the 23-24 Hayes USD 489 Master Collective Bargaining Agreement with salary increase for certified employees.
So moved. Or second, whichever.
I have a motion and a second to approve.
Pick.
Open it up for further discussion. If not, seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the collective bargaining with the teachers, vote yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All opposed, vote no. Approved 7-0. Okay, 6.2, request for approval of classified personnel increases for 23-24.
Okay, the recommendation that I'm bringing to the board tonight is that we increase classified personnel 7%. This is a higher percentage than the teachers certified employees received, but we felt, in conversations we've had at the board level, this was a emphasis to see what we could do to help some of our classified employees move up a little bit. And so this is a, kind of an out of the ordinary in terms of the percentage being quite a bit higher than certified, but I feel strongly that this is the right recommendation. We've got some great classified employees. You just had a bunch of them who are committed to feeding kids in the summer. And yeah, they're getting paid for it, but I'm sure there are probably a lot of other things they'd rather be doing. So our classified employees they move the engine as much as classroom teachers and administrators and everyone. But they're valuable, and that's why we're recommending the 7% increase.
And I'll miss somebody, but this is made up of our paras, our custodians, our cooks, our bus drivers. Tell me who I'm leaving out in there, but
Did you say secretaries? Did you say secretaries?
secretaries.
How many,
Aides.
how many classified individuals are on a salary?
Not everybody's hourly, their hourly rate.
So like in maintenance, like directors and stuff, aren't they?
The
considered
administrative,
they're not
so in
certified.
the administrative, they're salaried, but it'd be just the heads of the departments. Because
Okay,
it's
so they're-
exempt versus non-exempt, the rules and IRS regs on who is salaried and who can be, on who is hourly and who could be salaried.
So how many in our maintenance department are salaried?
One.
One, that's our
If
director.
you consider the director of buildings and grounds to be in the maintenance department.
Those figures that you sent us, is that that's not their total paid for that's just what is their contract, correct? That's not what's total paid in a year?
I don't know.
The amounts that you gave, because they have overtime, they have other things that are added. That's,
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, it's the hourly rate against the calendar, so if they work exactly their 40 hours a week, or the paras are 28 a quarter, if they work exactly that, that's what it would be. It wouldn't include any overtime, if there's overtime that they have.
So-
Most positions, I mean, if you look across the lion's share of the district, there's not overtime in most of the positions. Now, custodial and some of those, there is overtime, but most of the lion's share of them are classroom aides and special ed paras, and there's not overtime there.
correct, like in custodians mainly, they have overtime. Is there guidelines in our classified handbook that tells about how to take care of the overtime? Is that all the role of the director?
So both.
The individual and the director, there's just so many overtime, how many times can they go over and have overtime?
There's language that addresses snow days. I mean, that's the big thing that we see with that group.
A big jump?
Yeah, big jump. And occasionally, a pipe breaking. I mean, those are really the only.
And storm damage and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, very seldom do we see
So
any
the weekend
overtime.
activities, like through the winter when the gyms are being used, but then a lot of that gets billed back to whoever's using the facility. So there's overtime, but it's not at a cost necessarily to the district.
And we'll be able to handle that increase of a 7% increase in the overtime also?
Yes.
'Cause
Is
we
it
also
fair
have,
to
like-
say, though, that with some overtime, say like, no, let me rephrase that. When there's a snow day, there are classified employees not getting paid because they couldn't come to work. And there are some or what's the case there?
We do treat, we treat the snow day
All right.
as a paid holiday. So for the
So they-
paras or the kitchen staff, things like that, they get their normal hours for that day. The custodians would get, if they're working extra hours at that time, then they're getting,
Okay.
there would be some overtime.
Okay, go ahead.
How does this relate to salaries of other school districts? I mean, does that make us look pretty good as far as employment, or is this pretty much, on the same level as other
Oh, 7% increase?
Uh-huh.
I can't honestly answer that because I don't really know what other districts are doing, but I would say we're probably recognizing and really valuing our classified staff with this amount of increase.
Is it fair, I had one time, and I can't remember when, but my understanding, the certified staff, we're obviously competing with other schools, where classified staff, typically, we're competing with the other businesses in this community.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe a question would be, my understanding this increase was to try to get competitive with the other businesses that would be fighting for some of these.
Sure, and also to take care of the people who have been loyal to our district and try to compensate them.
So they don't leave in the first place.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I will tell you, being in business, if you are not raising them 7%, somebody else in town is going to hire them.
Absolutely.
And-
Yeah.
Wait.
And it's hard to find good workers in Hayes because that group and that salary level, they can get a job wherever they want.
Well, and we've found that out. From what I understand, it's been an ongoing, to find enough custodians, enough paras, enough, all of those throughout the years, and we're hoping that pay helps a little, and with the ones that are here, saying thank you to that point. And I heard at negotiations, like Ron said earlier, for years and years and years, the classified got the same percentage raise as the teachers, and the teachers understand how important the classified workers are, and said, we understand they need a higher percentage.
Where does this put our starting salaries for these kinds of positions?
Well, it varies depending upon the position. Lowest would be 1350.
We're at, we're
Close to 6. The 7% should get it close to 6.
Yeah, okay.
Plus or
13.
minus. Plus or
Okay.
minus.
Okay.
That's our lowest.
typically, or the last couple of years, rather than let the starting wage be stagnant, we brought it up half of the raise given to classified. The
Okay.
recommendation this year is 7 on the starting wage also, because we have so many. So we want to reward the people that are here, but we also need to bring the starting wage up because we have so many positions that are still unfilled. So, yeah, 1305, 1306, somewhere in there. for
Okay.
the-
Should be on, I think on an average about $1 per hour.
That's helpful information.
Okay. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve a salary increase for the classified employees at the 7%.
Second.
And a second. Now it's open for further discussion, board members, if there's any
I
further
have one more- I have a
discussion.
question. The 7%, is that salary base, or is that salary and benefits?
That's just the,
That's a pay,
just the wage.
that's a
Wage.
wage
Right.
increase of 7%.
Just the wage. If you look at the percentages, with the certified, it's okay.
Okay.
We have less classified that take the full benefits, and so the increase there.
7% is the salary
Yeah,
wage.
just the wage.
Okay.
Yep.
When do these employees get an increase in their salaries?
It would be July 1, so it'd be any, for.
The new school
it'd be
fiscal
the new
year.
Fiscal year, yeah.
Okay. So how often, every year they get an increase, every 6 months?
No, typically it's considered this time when you finish the negotiations with the teachers is typically when we look at it, so one time during the fiscal year, July 1 usually.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, good question.
It's not to say you couldn't do things, throughout the year, but typically that hasn't been before.
Okay.
It isn't.
Okay, any other? If not, I call for the vote for the approval of the classified personnel. All in favor, vote yes. Yes. All opposed, vote no. Okay, we're ready for 6.3, request for approval of directors, administrators, and other licensed personnel salary increases for 23-24. Ron?
Yeah, this is just a recommendation to increase salaries for directors, administrators, and other licensed personnel. The recommendation is 4.35% raise.
Okay, I will make a motion, and then we'll open it up for discussion. I make a motion to approve a salary increase for directors, administrators, and other licensed personnel at 4.35%.
I second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Now, if board members have any further discussion,
I do have a comment.
okay?
Teachers are done at the bottom step 1 level. And then we go from there, correct? Yeah, they get the percent. Administrators, administrators, they're all, wherever they're at is gonna get that. That's different. Because I did the little calculation, and we're gonna run anywhere from $7,000 to $4,000 raises, depending on where we are. So it's not like it's 1825 like we're doing for educators. Because we don't have, I guess we don't do a block thing, or we don't do a scale thing. So it's where you're at. I guess as a taxpayer and money consumer is, if I'm rolling a 7 and a 7 and a 7, I'm going pretty fast than if I'm rolling an 18 as a teacher. So the disparity in the growth spread, is I would like to see, and this is probably more of a, when we have our in-service, a flat rate instead of percentage. At that, like we do with the teachers.
At the retreat?
Yeah, I'm sorry, retreat. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I did say it right.
Okay.
Anyway.
I think that, staying at the same level at this point in this time, while we have no other structure in place to
I don't disagree.
discuss the discrepancy that I think Mr. Viner is trying to point out. 7%, we're not talking about 7%,
No.
4.5% of $100,000 is significantly more than 4.5% of $45,000. And that is a reality, and as we are not currently in a place where administrative salaries are a humongous burden, would be a good time to put a plan in place to make sure that they don't inflate at an unkind rate. And I think you're right. I think that'd be a very good topic for the retreat, but I don't.
No, you're not
that
gonna change,
it's-
I don't, not changing that, but we need to put it on a schedule or a scale somehow, because it's happened for years where it's rolled, if you're gonna roll at the same percent on 100,000, you're rolling that same money on 50, that's your gap is going to spread.
Okay.
Anyway.
And just on the other side, Lori, go ahead.
I just have a question. Is that generally yearly what the increase is 4.5%?
No.
Or
No.
No,
it's-
the percent changes.
Oh, okay.
This is a good one.
Okay.
Yeah,
This
is a good one.
We're very lucky that we're able to give this
This
year.
is a good
We're
one.
we're in a position to reward employees this year.
Yeah.
At all levels, at
Oh,
all levels.
Thank you.
And so I think that's where we've made recommendations for all levels that I think are fair.
okay.
I
That
have
makes sense. Thank you
some
so much.
questions, I asked to have this on the agenda in May, and it wasn't put on, and then again, it was this month, and then back in November. And we spend a lot of time with our teachers. We spend months and weeks working and talking with them and negotiating. This is the most we've ever talked about as our meeting here. We haven't looked at it, at this budget. We haven't looked at our contract. I've not seen a contract since I've been on the board to see what it actually looks like. And a lot of times those are brought because we just kind of give them like a blank check.
No, I am gonna, there's not.
You're interrupting me. Can I go?
I am, let me address, because I need a clarification. You said administrators are a blank check?
No, it's a percentage of the bond, it's like I said, the line item. And as we've done in the past, we've had different administrators getting different levels of percentage, not always the same, not exactly that amount. You go back and look at different ones, we have some that go up and down, 10%, 7%, it's not exactly the same. And so I guess my question to Chris is, every administrator will get the exact same amount? according to this, or is there going to be some that have more?
That's exactly the way it's been done since I've been around.
They'll get the same percent.
Yeah, and we've addressed that in the past, so if it is something that has been done previously before us, we can't address what other boards have
No, I'm
done.
talking
But
about-
since we've been here, Alan, every year it has been the same.
Right.
We've
Well,
brought this
we can
forward and
look.
we've proven it.
And that
so-
would be a good time for us if we talk, then I could show you my documentation that shows that there are, well, you can remember even last August, we added on certain administrators, certain bumps that wasn't the same percentage. So you can't say that statement because that's not accurate. And everybody can go to OpenGov and look, or go look at our salaries.
And I remember you brought those administrators forward and we had specific reasons for giving them the bumps. And so I feel like that's not fair to bring that forward. Yet
But you
again,
had that
after,
information, but we
we
didn't
had
talk
it
about
in
it.
public session, Alan.
We did.
We talked about it in public
We
session.
talked about it, but some of it was in executive session.
No, you were saying things that weren't
Well, I've got
correct.
something else to talk about. This is
I
from our
agree that you
budget.
do not.
Let's look up our budget. In 2021, we had, let's see here, from our actual administration support was $4,000,006. The next year it was $5,700,000. We increased of $1 million. The next year it was $6,700,000. We increased another $1 million. But when you look at instruction, we stayed basically the same, except for the last year we did increase some. So as a board, we should be looking at it and say, okay, wait a second, what's the difference here? We're spending more in administration than support. Maybe maybe there's reasons for it, but we should be looking at that as a board to see why our administration support has been jumping up $1 million and the percentage. We went from 64% as instruction, as our total budget was instruction, down to 57%. So we dropped. So what were the reasons for that? And we should be discussing those things. That should be part of our job as a board, is to look at those things. I mean, that was $1 million every year. And I don't even know what happened this year because that's not there yet, but we can look at it when it comes out and we'll see what is going on. There's a lot more money spent in administration than what it has been in the past.
Okay.
I think-
So we should look at that.
Why don't we listen to Chris?
Well, just to point out, so when you look at the budget, that's going by function. So everything that is not in for teacher or instructional supplies or for instructional support, like the speech paths or librarians, anything that's not, once you move above that in the function line, then that is what gets calculated as administration. So that's transportation, that's heating and cooling, that's building maintenance. That's not, so when you say administration, it's everything above a classroom expenditure. Just want to clarify that.
Right.
But that hasn't changed, right? That's been the same for every year.
How that's calculated?
Yes,
Correct.
okay. So that's my point, and that would be a great discussion for us to hear exactly why that is. But we have not done that as a board.
But he just said that's not all, it's not all salary there.
I understand that.
And
But
we
there's
get- we
also
go
instruction
over-
support
But
services.
we go
What's
over
that?
the budget at the start of the year every year. I mean, this is brought to our attention already.
This is part of administration and the salaries, and we have not spent as much time talking as a board on why we're doing the things that we do. And we haven't dug into it and looked. And I wish we would.
Okay.
I will vote against this, not because we don't have good administrators, we have great administrators. I just don't think we've spent our due diligence.
I don't think we keep great administrators when we have conversations that imply they don't do their jobs, which you have often. And I
Can
don't
you
think we keep
tell
good
me when that
administrators
happened?
if we don't pay them accordingly. So, Mr. President, may we vote on this?
I don't want anybody to miss out on their discussion, and I'm not going to interrupt, Alan, but I
What
want,
I was saying is that the reason that I will vote, not because of the
We understand.
great administrators, I wish you wouldn't interrupt me, please, is that it's not because we don't have good administrators, that's not it. It's just the process that we haven't done due diligence on this particular topic, like we have with the classified and with the teachers, in my
Okay.
opinion.
okay.
I'd like to just make a note that this particular motion is for a 4.35% increase for the current administrators' salaries.
Directors
And it is
and
not about directors It is about directors and other licensed personnel,
Right.
including a SPED physical therapist whom we employ. This is not about the entire administrative budget. It is about these personnel. And to vote against it for other reasons other than that these personnel deserve what they are being paid for is not the duty of the board.
Okay, I would just, I haven't had an opportunity to weigh in. We've had the teachers' salaries, and they passed 7-0, which was the board saying, good job, we're going to give you a raise. We've had our classified staff saying 7%, good job. But when we get to administrators each year, we have challenges to their pay raise. And what we're looking at is kind of that apples and oranges. We're looking at 12-month contracts. We're looking at different responsibilities with these administrators. And a lot of districts are hiring only first-year administrators because they're not paying what they deserve. Just like we did with our teachers and our classified, we're trying to hold on to these people. We should be saying, we are glad you're here. We are going to represent by a pay raise that represents all of our administrators, whether they're first year or 25th year. And it's hard to hear that every year people on this board say administrators shouldn't be getting that much pay. I have talked to administrators, and I've been out of education for over 6 years now. Other board members have been a lot longer than that. Every one of them said, it is so much harder now than when you were a principal. And I believe it with COVID. So it isn't a job, easy job. We need to be able to respond and give an appropriate raise when we can. Because who knows, with the state budget, we may be at a 1% next year.
Yeah, good points.
Mr. President, the thing that it was mentioned earlier, we don't compare it with other districts. We don't see the difference between one elementary principal and the other elementary principal. Why is there discrepancies? That should be something we should be learning about and finding about as a board. Why did this person get a higher raise than this person a certain year? Let's look at those things.
Everybody gets a 4.35%.
Everybody's getting the same this year.
I hope that's the case.
It is the case.
Has been
Unless you're
every
saying
year.
Chris isn't telling you the truth.
I will then take my figures to Chris and we'll sit down and he can explain it to me. That would be helpful.
Give him a call. He's always very
Very
willing
helpful. That's right.
and talk to you.
I'd like to call for a vote, please.
I will make the motion.
It's been,
Okay, in second?
yeah.
Okay, all in favor of the motion to approve the salary increases for directors, administrators, and other licensed personnel, the 4.35, vote yes for approval?
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, vote no.
No.
Jess, 6-1?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 6.4, another area that's just continues to get tougher and tougher for substitute teachers. Ron?
Yeah, once again, we just want to take care of our people, and substitutes are another piece of our engine that's driving the bus, and we need them, and we want to keep them, and we want to reward those who have stayed with us. So we're looking at increasing our sub rates, for the long-term sub rates, and those are who our buildings more than 45 days, increasing that from 220 to 245. For extended sub rate, there's subs who are in our buildings from 16 to 44 days, from going $100 to $170 to $185. And then just the actual daily sub rate, and that's just up to 15 days from 110 to 125. So making our recommendation based upon we have the ability this year because of some good things, and we can reward substitutes, and we feel like we need to just keep pace if we can.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and,
I just have a question.
okay.
I'm sorry.
I have a motion and a second. Go ahead, open discussion.
So this is a flat rate, a flat fee increase of 15 for the shorter term and 25 for the longer term. What helped you come up with that
Well,
amount? Or,
the
because it's
long-
more than 4 and 7?
Long-term subs are really involved in grading. They're involved in meeting with parents. It would be just basically being a teacher. I mean, they're considered a teacher.
Probably some
so-
curriculum development.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't mean like the difference. I just mean like why 15 and
said that-
25 instead of,
That 245 is the daily rate of a BS 0 step 1.
Okay.
So we kind of work backwards from there. The daily rate for the long-term sub, because they're acting as the teacher, if they're there for 45 days, like that. And then we work it back and say, okay, it's about 25% less for that extended, because you're doing some of the daily planning, but you're not doing everything. And then the daily sub is about 25% of that extended. So we kind of start with the BS 0 and work it backwards from there.
that's really cool to know. Thank you.
I have two questions. Is Ellis County, because we had subs that I would go with this school, is that,
Are we
are we
high in
competitive?
Ellis County?
Are we competitive in Ellis County? I guess
Yes,
it's.
Like
I
with
would,
Victoria
I would say
Ellis.
we're probably leading
yeah.
the,
Okay.
I don't really honestly know that, but I feel fairly confident saying I think we're probably leading the county.
Okay. Is this difference of $15 or 20, whatever, is this figured in that amount of increase that was on that green line of money that we put in?
No, that's a separate.
There's a separate of
line.
money that
Yeah, separate line.
we've increased in,
Yeah.
so this would be if and so, this would be a column 5 of increases that we've made this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
You already probably did this math, but I'm just curious how many days we had substitutes this year? Because I know the previous year was
Yeah.
a nightmare, right? So the last year was much better-ish. So
Yeah.
are we,
I can bring that.
are we
yeah.
guessing that number? Are we calculating that number pretty accurately?
When we go, yeah, when it comes time to setting all the budget lines, then yes, we're using, I use like a 3-year average. 2 years ago was a tough year, so it kind of messes with those averages, but yeah, we
Good year of the flu.
kind of look back, so we kind of threw out that and then look at trends from there.
Okay.
I think it's a.
Are we struggling still to find quality?
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, always.
Yeah.
They had changed that temporarily during COVID. Did they change it back that we need higher credentials again, or did the
I think it's
credentials
still in place.
We never
It's still,
went- We never went down to the lowest
that the state was?
sub credentials that the state would allow. We never actually went.
Okay, thank you.
But we do still have the 60-day.
High school graduate in 18.
Emergency subs.
That's what just got on the board, No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the substitute? Pay raise or amount? If not, all in favor, vote yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, vote no. Just 7-0.
Alan, think about
Waiting on vote.
it. Yeah, we're-
Okay, 6.5, student handbooks, 23-24, first read. I've talked to several board members. There's a few changes in a few of them. We've got quite a few changes at the high school. Ron?
Yeah, I mean, once again, this is the first read, so no decision tonight, but just, and, you know, most of the administrators here, so if there are any initial questions, I would tell you that tonight is the night, if you get your, if there's anything that you glanced at, I don't expect you to have had it all ran through. But at the same time, they're here tonight, they'll hopefully be back at the next meeting if there's questions. They're probably the best ones to answer any changes that, you know, are in there. Once again, the edits are in red, the strike throughs are, you know, struck through what they're eliminating. The elementary, they made it easy on you. They didn't make any changes, so.
I don't have
High
any.
school made it trouble.
I don't have any questions, but I did read through it, and I need to spend some more time, but I may have questions next time, but I liked how you have the district civility clause in there for faculty, for administrators, so kids, parents, everyone is aware of that actions and words do hurt.
This may sound like the most stupidest question you can possibly get, but how do I get the handbook? I don't have it.
They're included in there.
You go down on the
You go
note.
down to the bottom, Lori.
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay.
But now, that's the actual handbook, but any changes we have just highlighted for your, just so you don't have to turn a bunch of pages.
Got it.
So as we read through this for the high school one, since there is so much there, can we just send an email asking some clarifications? Because like some things, when I read through them, they're not making sense the way the change is made. I know what the intent is, but I don't think it's worded correctly. So.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Sure.
As I edited the handbook itself, all of the black text, when you look at the whole document, the black text is everything that existed in the 22-23 version. The red strike-through text also existed in the 22-23 version. The blue text and the black text combined is what would be the new version. So if you read only the black and blue together, that would be the new version of the text.
So the red is what's being taken out?
The red and struck through is what goes away. So I wanted to honor what was still there
Okay.
in the text. So I struck through what I'm suggesting we eliminate, and the
Okay.
blue is what we add to it.
That helps.
To clarify.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And I will tell you that some things are reordered from the 22-23 version into the 23-24 version. That is just to kind of group things. I think we're a fan of grouping things into about 4 or 5 chunks at the high school. Is how we've kind of rolled over the last couple of years. So we have about 4 big headings, 4 or 5 big headings.
And just to clarify, the things that we had in the agenda look different than when I pulled the PDF up. So that's what I was looking at.
Oh.
And it's because it's a mile to get down to the PDF, so
Right.
I didn't realize.
One more question about this formatting. Do these yellow Post-its, are they indicating that I should open this in Adobe so that I can read that Post-it note? Or is that just like
The Post-it notes are
a?
mostly for me to go back and change after
Okay.
we have your approval.
Okay.
Some of them are little justification statements of why we added something in there. So if you see a big chunk of blue text, one of those little Post-it notes should justify why we added it or why we changed the language.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
That helps.
That's very helpful.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
thank
And
you.
Ron, clarification for you, all these handbooks, even though some is not changing, we're approving the entire book.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we would happen to come across something, not proposed changes, but we have questions, that would be,
Yeah, that'd be the time to ask.
I guess.
Okay.
Okay, this is just a discussion item, first read, so there's no motion tonight. Same thing on 6.6, KSB policy updates. This is also the first read. There are several that are coming from KSB.
Yeah, this this is just first read for policies. I'm going to run through these real fast. I won't get in depth on any of them. Closing of the school building, that's policy 8G. Basically, this is just to reflect the changes in the building procedure, how we close the building. It was part of the legislature session where we have to wait 45 days for the legislature to decide if they want to purchase the building. So just language that needs to be added because of that. Policy GAAF, this is just some policy changes in terms of our emergency safety interventions. I don't see anything really that is significant. It's just making some more defining some language in that ESI policy. Policy GAOA, that's just the drug-free workplace, and basically they just took out a paragraph about that you can look at, and you'll see the changes in that. Policy KK, disposal of district property. This was just, once again, part of the closing the building, so they have to update it after the legislative session. So just similar language from policy 8G. Policy KN is just a policy updated to clarify the role of the appeals officer, as well as just defining some language and the formal procedures for complaints and how that will be handled. So don't see anything real significant there that I feel like really stands out, or that I see any issues with. Policy JGFA, that is that Narcan. It's just a form policy that our district will have in place in case we ever use that. Once again, then similar policy is policy JGFGA, which is just, in a sense, the Narcan policy. If you remember, we kind of adopted a Narcan policy that we put under our medication policy. We'll probably make, when we add this, we'll probably maybe take that policy and strike it out, because this will supersede that. Military leave policy GARID. Basically, the big change that I can see is that individuals performing military duty for more than 30 days can get their health care covered up to 24 months as opposed to 18. That was really the only big change in that. The reduction of teaching staff policy, just to clarify some language about our negotiated agreement. You know, we have a reduction in force policy in our negotiated agreement that spells out specifically. In a sense, this policy really doesn't define anything more than our negotiated agreement is our policy that we follow for forward. But it just says this is basically a policy that if you don't have that in your negotiated agreement, there's steps that will be included. We already have that, and we'll kind of supersede that. There's policy IFCC. This is once again, a new policy that has to do with the legislative session about overnight accommodations. Just language that was established during the legislative session about how staying overnight on school trips, and some language that this is recommended through KSB. And so part of this is just getting us into compliance what was approved at the legislative level. And then student activity policy, JH, once again, there's just a whole bunch of changes that were made during the legislative session in terms of students who are non-residents or don't go to our school, but has opened the door for a lot of different individuals to participate in CASHA activities. Once again, this was part of the legislative session, and these are just updating that after the session, the language. So, once again, that's first read on those policies. Once again, if you have specific questions on, I can get more in detail and talk through those.
So the first one that's listed, closing school buildings,
Yes.
when I click that link, it's not taking me to a draft. Is that
not.
just me? Is it, it's literally anyone else having that experience?
We can fix that. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
We'll get that
glad
fixed.
it's not just me.
Yeah, we'll get that fixed.
That feels good.
And Ron,
Thank you.
before the July meeting, Mr. Jeter and you will kind of look through our existing policies and review the KSB.
Yeah, I mean, Bill has I'll make sure Bill has access to these as well. And if
Okay.
there's anything, I'm sure
I had
Les
the same problem as Megan. I tried.
couldn't get there. Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Okay.
Others work, just that first one doesn't.
Everything else worked. Everything,
It's
just that
bringing
first
it back
one.
to the board docs for some reason.
Yeah, it's just taking me to the front page. It's weird.
Okay, any further discussion? We'll have second read in July. Okay, thank you. 6.7, Tammy brought this up when she was president last year. The July meeting is our reorganization meeting. We will be going through a lot of reorganization, not only with the president, vice president, but with a lot of other things that are brought to the July meeting. But what I want to continue, if you don't want to answer this, just say go or pass or whatever. I think if I remember right from last June, Tammy, you just asked each board member if they would want to be considered for president or vice president at the July organization meeting. Was that right?
And then if they wanted to share any other reasons to support why they either interested or feel qualified.
Okay. Since you're talking, I will start with you at that end of the table.
What was the pass? Was that the answer? Pass.
Hard pass, I think. Hard pass.
Hard pass.
Okay. Tammy passes. Kurt.
Yeah, I would consider vice president,
Okay.
and I would make my comments why at the July meeting.
Okay. Lori?
I would consider vice president.
Okay. I would consider it if the board saw fit for that or there was a need. Ken?
I'd like to consider for president. Spent the last year as vice president, learned quite a bit from Craig, and I think that I'll be able to add quite a bit to it.
Okay. Megan?
I would consider vice president.
Okay. Alan?
Pass.
Okay. All right. Thank you for letting me ask that, and we'll move on.
Before you do,
Yes.
Your plan is then to take nominations at the next meeting? Or how does that-
That's at the very first thing, starting the agenda. We'll be electing a new president and a new vice president, and I will move wherever the new president is located, and we will,
So the new president will lead
lead
the July meeting?
99% of the July meeting.
You went pretty fast.
Was I smiling? No. Okay. Okay. 6.8, board meeting minutes. This was pulled from the consent agenda.
Yes, I just wanted to double check. I think the item, I wanted to double check with the board to see if this is what, remember. On item 6.
Alan, can you speak into the
Sure.
microphone?
On item 6, I believe 6.1 and the second item, those need to be changed and reversed. Because I believe the motion to reduce the textbook fee was before we approved it. Is that how everybody else remembered it? That was the first order of business on that item.
Oh, you're saying that the
The
two
motion to
motions are
reduce
flipped?
was
Yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
and the votes were in that order. So the first motion was then, was first defeated, and then the second one was the one that was approved. So if we can just make that switch, if the board agrees.
Can you tell me the numbers again?
That's item 6, where you got 6.1 school fees.
I can show you on my,
Yeah, just under there are two
There's
motions and.
there.
yeah.
I just think those need to be
The
switched.
second one comes before the
Are we
first.
good?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Do you want me to correct it and bring it back?
I would move to approve the minutes with the correction.
Second.
Are you ready?
Have a motion and a second to approve the board meeting minutes with the one correction. Any further discussion? If not, I call for a vote. All approval, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, say no.
Well, there it is.
Okay, 6.9, disposal of obsolete district property. This was moved from the consent agenda.
Yes, I'd just like a review of that. What we're doing with that, this
We have,
obsolete property.
do we have pictures of everything, I believe, of what was there?
It's mostly
Where are they
shop-
coming
shop
from?
equipment.
They've all just been moved out of, I think, most of the high school, and they're just obsolete, whether they don't need them or they have secured new machines. Those machines have been sitting in that area for maybe a year, 2 years, could even be longer, depending upon what it is.
I'm assuming they're all still work, they're just not, we're getting different ones.
Yeah, you can buy one and find out. We take your bid.
No guarantee.
But they're all from the high school, it looks like.
Yeah.
Where are these art stands?
Most of that's wood, that'll come out of the wood department.
So, yeah. Megan had a question about the art stand. What-
No,
what are-
I'm just kidding now.
Well, I don't know either which one's
I
which.
can't tell which they are, but I don't know anything.
Do you know what those are?
Art stands?
Yeah.
Go for it, Becky, Ingrid. You take it away.
Which ones are they? Like,
They are huge metal, they
These
just look
things
like
right
a couple
here?
of poles. They're just gigantic easels. They're about this tall.
They're not the pictures in.
Yeah, they are. I think
Oh, I
they're
think
the
it's
fourth
that
picture
one.
That's
out
that one in
there.
the middle, yeah.
I think that's what that is.
Between the bandsaw.
Between a saw and something green.
They're
enormous,
huge.
right?
I don't care.
Oh,
don't
this
either.
picture's in a different one.
Oh, and there's one
Really?
below it.
That's weird. I
That's not broken out.
think I just have more.
Now that advanced writing sweeper,
Yeah.
Becky or Fred, the sweeper, you can tell us about that?
I don't know about the sweeper. I just know about the art stands and the shop equipment has been in that shed since prior to my arrival.
Which was when?
So they've been there at least 2 years. And I know that I can speak to the shop that we have purchased upgraded industry grade standard equipment to replace all of those things that are much safer for our students.
And surely it's based upon their site council or approved it through.
Yeah, our
the VOTEC
CTE
program.
advisory
CTE
committee
advisory
recommends
committees.
purchase of our equipment. And most of that purchase of equipment, either Chris helps us out with capital outlay, we have building funds, and then we also use Perkins to purchase upgrades.
And we need the space.
All right.
So we need to get rid of it.
I move that we approve this as it's presented.
Second.
Second, I have a motion and a second to disposal of the obsolete district property that has been presented. Hearing no discussion, all in favor, vote yes.
Yes.
All opposed, vote no. Uh, 6.10, 23-24 USD 49 Board of Education calendar.
Yeah, I would like for us to have some, I've been vocal about this, there's no surprise here. I'd like for us to have some work sessions in here. I'd like to do at least, on top of the retreat, at least 3 more, and make some of those dates work sessions versus a full meeting.
So,
Are you suggesting introducing a new one, or actually, because at one point, just historically, we used to have, one of the meetings was a board meeting, the other one was called a work session, and I know we changed that to reflect that we're voting at all times. So are you suggesting moving back to, or what?
I'm suggesting that every other month, we make one of those 2 a work session. And the dates I had looked at, just to throw out dates, were October 23rd, make that a work session, January 22nd, and March 25th. And then, even at the March 25th, I'd like to suggest that we have that at Roosevelt to kind of get a look at the progress that's being made, and for us to kind of see that.
We can always, yes, get you in. I don't know, I don't want to say for sure, March, because I don't know where we'll be.
Okay.
I want to get you over there, I just don't know if that's going to be the best time. But
Oh,
it
okay,
might
yeah, and
be.
I just threw that out.
It might be, might not be, I don't know. But we will get you guys over there.
And the other thing I'd like to do is go ahead and put in a July date on this calendar so that the next president will be able to look at the calendar and do that for himself or herself.
I
Is it-
have a question about August 7th being the only option for this retreat.
No,
Because it's
not-
my birthday, and that's not how I'd like to spend it. But I'm just
Mr. Chairman?
throwing it out there. I don't
Yes.
really have any other better options.
How
than
long
just,
will that retreat last?
As long as you guys want to make it last.
Because it lasted after lunch.
after lunch.
Until at least 3 or 4, maybe 10.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So I have a couple of comments. One, I would like for us to have input. So like Ken said, I would have liked to suggest that these dates won't work for, our retreat. That would have been nice beforehand. I was discussing with my wife for like 3 states. There's got to be a happy word. Somebody would share it with me. I should like win the lottery. I would like, so there's always 6 months down the road, because I was trying to plan my fall, and I have no idea what dates we were going to hit. I had no retreat when the board meetings. So come January 1, I would like for us to be able to do, July to that end of there. So it's always 6 months running. So people that have, we're busy, and so I can schedule things.
Well, just
I-
so you know, Kurt, this is the same reciprocal calendar
Yeah.
every
I-
year.
It's the
I
second.
mean, it's the same calendar, so it hasn't changed.
But I couldn't find anything. I looked up.
Well, it's this year's calendar.
It's the
Same
second
date.
and fourth Monday with some
Yeah,
exceptions.
yeah, it's the
Right.
same date, there's
It's
nothing
the-
changed.
Well, I didn't.
Well, I mean, I'm saying you could have planned, because you knew the.
I didn't make that connection.
Yeah. It's been
And,
that way.
and I was looking on the USD 49, and it's blank.
Yeah.
It's blank.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I have May, June, and July, we have just one meeting with the bond things that we have going on. Should we go ahead and look ahead and maybe schedule some meetings so that we have some more opportunities? Why do we not have more than one meeting in those 3 months?
What, what,
I'm all for just one meeting in all those months.
and what I would, well, the board members that said they would be considered for president, I think that is a good point for Ron and the new president. If they need a special meeting, they can call a special meeting. But like I like Ken's, if we can go to one meeting a month, let's do it unless there's a need.
I have a question for
I
Ken.
also presented the information, if you remember, I didn't present it this year, but
Right.
we're one of the few districts, not the only district, but there's very few districts that have two meetings.
I'll get the board a little fired up because, the city commission has gone to a 4 o'clock in the afternoon meeting time, and the Ellis County Commission has gone to an 8:30 in the morning. We're the only group that has an evening meeting.
We all have jobs.
I told you I'd get you fired up on that one.
Your work session's proposal, no, there'll be no voting on any agenda. We're just discussing things, correct?
Yeah,
There'll be
yeah.
no votes.
Right, right, and it'll be something where we can discuss, and that way.
That's fine. I just
I
wanna be
see that
clear
with the city, and it works for them.
I just want to, I don't, make sure we're not.
No
voting on it.
votes and no TV?
Right.
The thing that you just have to understand, and it's not been typical, but we do it in July, June and July. We only approve bills when you meet as a board, so that would delay some of the payments that we make.
Right.
Doesn't mean that
So let me ask you.
doesn't mean it can't happen, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, well, and let me ask you, because that's why I said every other month versus every month during that. But let me ask also this, is that not something, if it's absolutely, we've got to do it, we can have a special meeting, take care of it and go?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, that's not out of the norm. Like I said, most school boards meet once a month. That's how school districts pay vendors. They're fortunate when they deal with A's 489. We have 2 meetings, so they do get paid more regularly than other school districts that they do. So it's not unheard of. I just wanted to make sure you understood that.
Yeah, I'm just worried about making sure that we do have enough meetings to be able to cover everything that.
Well, I think we have enough meetings.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think there's enough.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
The July and August dates at this point, though, would, I mean,
Those definitely, those are, honestly, guys.
oh, no, I don't
could-
mean this year. I
Yeah.
mean, like, the idea
Yeah, we
of
can
getting
change that
those
August
done
date
in
for sure.
January is a really nice thought. But, no, I was mostly kidding about the 7th, because I'm not free any of the days around that either, so it's whatever.
Okay, do we have a motion?
No, we don't have any motion, yeah.
I make a motion to approve the USD 49 Board of Education calendar for 23-24.
Second.
Have a
Are you
motion
talking as is, as it's presented?
as presented.
You can change things later.
No,
Well,
I
The
would like to
dates.
have the calendar be changed to include those retreats.
You've already got the motion, you already have the second. You have to make an amendment.
But we got the discussion.
Right, but you got a first motion,
we
you
have
have a
to
second,
vote
you
on
have to vote.
and I didn't hear what
Lori
What were
wants
you
to, Lori wants to add in.
you're proposing, though, and it might change my way I vote, though. What were you saying?
I want to make the calendar so the retreats are added on there.
Yeah,
It's
they're-
on
They're
there.
already there.
August 7th is the retreat.
Oh,
Oh, you're
okay.
talking about the work sessions or?
The work session.
Yeah, the
sorry.
work session.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And the other thing I'd say, Megan's asking about that. Last year, I think for the retreat, we did meet on a Friday. Am I wrong on that? I thought we did. And Friday might be better for many of us. We could move that to the 11th if everyone's
I
agreeable.
thought I heard that Friday wasn't a great day, that's why I think I'd move that, but, hey, we can do it Friday.
I don't want a Friday.
If you want.
No.
I think that was a conversation that people mentioned last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought so, that's why I moved it to the Monday, but we can definitely do it, I mean, I'm available.
I don't want a Friday.
And
What'd you say, Kurt?
I do not want a Friday,
Okay.
not in the summer.
So if say this motion passes, that it goes as is, and then the president,
You're going to change.
when working with the superintendent on creating the agenda, could make it a work session. There would be that, we wouldn't change the date, but at that point, then you could, for whatever reason, that could be something that could be done. Is that a fair?
Well, if you pass this as is, I think the new president would have to come back with a
To the
new
board.
calendar with some adjustments, and then you approve that one.
That was the clarification I was
Is how it
seeking.
worked. Yeah, I would say when you approve it as
It is.
is.
It stays as a meeting, not as a work session.
And I quite honestly, I wouldn't prove it as is. 'Cause
Okay.
I do feel the need for that, and I'd like to have.
So if you want to consider the work sessions, we
Well-
need to vote this down.
Yeah. Because it's already a motion. second.
Okay, I call for a vote on the board calendar as presented with no work sessions and the dates for the retreat as it was set. All in favor, vote yes. All opposed, vote no.
No.
No. Okay, voted down. We need a new proposal.
I need everybody to vote.
I think I did.
I'm looking at the map.
The only vote I have is Tammy's.
Oh, I put mine in already.
Mine disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did everyone vote no?
Yeah. Are they coming through, Jess?
No, it didn't come through, I just put it.
Okay. All right, then I'd like to make a motion that we change, on this calendar, keep it as is, but change October 23rd, January
Okay, whoa, whoa, whoa,
22nd.
whoa, whoa,
I
slow.
believe it says, is that the right
October
date?
23rd?
Am I looking at the right? Yeah, October
Okay.
23rd.
Okay, I want to go slow, I want to run it down.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
October 23rd, January 22nd, and March 25th to be work sessions.
So you're adding,
And
we're
then
swapping
go-
out 3 and
All right.
3 board meetings out and 3 works in.
Yep. And then add July 15th onto this calendar of 2024.
Is that the corresponding date for them?
Yeah, that would be the corresponding date to today's meeting next year. And the only reason I'm doing that is so that way we can vote on the calendar at that time for the next president.
Yeah, and just clarify for me, when you say work session, what does that actually mean?
Where, again, no votes, no.
Yeah, I got no votes, but like,
We did.
agenda items will be generated just, kind of like our board retreat where you guys are just gonna bring things.
Right, and then if you have things that are, like even, I would say the first reads could be at those, wouldn't that be allowed? I don't know that.
Good,
so.
and not just, I mean, it doesn't always, I wouldn't.
It doesn't line up, but I mean,
Yeah.
but whatever it may be, but more so we can have discussions about upcoming items so that we know and make, so that when we come to those meetings, there's not that, we've had a lot of, to put it gently, animosity to this last year, and then I think that our meetings will be a little more efficient if we know going into them, make sure everybody's very well versed on what we're voting on and everything.
Yeah, just, I've been to the city's meetings. Basically, it's a redo of the first meeting is actually agenda-driven, just like we have, but there's no votes, just information. The second meeting is just the exact same presentation, same agenda. And my reference point is just only the city that does that. Is that what you're envisioning? Or is it just open-ended? I guess that's where I'm trying to
They
clarify.
have weekly meetings, right?
Are there weekly meetings? There are.
I don't know if they get
So,
paid for it.
the first meeting is an agenda just like
Right.
the other night, but there's no action taken.
Yeah, and
Second meeting is the exact same agenda, exact same presentations, but there's action taken.
right, and
And
that's,
so that is one way. What, are you saying just a work session, just big discussion, like our board retreat?
Like the retreat.
yeah, I'm kind of envisioning it to be half and half, where we have that agenda so we can discuss items ahead of time, and then make it semi-open to whatever wants to be discussed.
And so, and basically, you want to make sure that there be no voting whatsoever.
Right.
So the only thing I would just want to clarify to everybody, that might mean that, let's say we have something, but there's just something we need approval on. That might mean that either you have to, I guess, agree to, I mean, I don't know, I'm trying to come up, there's just things sometimes.
Well-
We need to move
But you
on
can have
something.
Yeah, but
if we have a
because-
work
session-
March ones, for example, or even the January, personnel transactions are pretty key at that point.
But if you have a work session on this day, you need a special meeting 20 minutes before.
Yeah, that's true. And the other thing I want to point out, I'm not asking for it to be every month, and it was every month before it was voted to change it, because they ended up being meetings, two
But we
meetings
were,
every month.
we were
It was action.
quasi, there was still action being.
Yeah.
So, But they were being called work sessions and they technically
Called
weren't.
work sessions. We did them on site at different locations, and then they were during the noon lunch hour.
I'm asking, let's give it a try for this year. If those dates aren't good, do you have a better suggestion of dates than those that I mentioned?
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
if they're- if
I
they're
pulled those
hurrying-
out of just looking
I'm
through
just saying,
them.
there's sometimes, in our world, there's just some, I mean, I'm gonna say, I think there's been some technology purchases that were timely, and we needed board approval to make sure that it was okay to go ahead and get them in. We have a certain deadline. That's what I'm saying. Those situations might pop up, which might require, it could happen before a work session. That's absolutely fine, if you schedule a special meeting, but it might be another day where I will tell you that also the norm is that boards who have one meeting a month, they have a lot more special meetings. And that means just popping up randomly, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, be prepared for that, because that's not something you guys are used to. You're really blessed because you have a schedule. Most boards, they have a lot of special meetings that meet once a month. So I think that's important to.
How often, or how in advance to meet the Kansas Open Meetings Act do you have to promote before you can do a special meeting?
3 days.
3 days, but you can waive it.
Yeah, if
can
you have
waive
a
it. If you
quorum
all-
of the board.
If you all sign it, you can waive the 3-day notification.
I'm thinking about,
And Bill, you can clarify that. Is that right?
I'm thinking about how much work we're going to be doing within the next year because of all the buildings coming up and all the things that they're going to be bringing us as far as payment of and stuff like that. And just a little bit concerned about.
But I don't think it's going to increase your workload.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
You approved $143.5 million,
Yeah.
and that money is, we're not going to spend, past.
Craig, do you have a motion second?
Okay.
No,
No.
there's no
All
motion.
right, so let me make that motion. I was making that motion, I guess I probably didn't finish what they were asking me. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so let me point out one other thing on that. We're talking, I put out there 21 days and I'm asking for 4, which one of them's the retreat, to be work sessions. So we'll be flexible. If we've got to do a meeting, we'll do it. But I want to put those out there. So I'm making the motion to keep this calendar as is, but to make October 23rd, January 22nd, and March 25th work sessions, and then add July 15th, 2024 to this calendar.
Okay, but that doesn't include the retreat, does it?
No, I didn't say anything about
No,
it.
no change to the retreat as presented.
No.
Retreat
And what was the July, what'd you say?
It was
Okay,
July 15th, 2024.
20.4.
As a regular meeting or?
yeah,
work
as a
Correct.
regular meeting. And I picked that, like I said, because it corresponds to this day next year.
And-
This is the third Monday, that's,
July
15th.
15th.
that's the third Monday.
And just to clarify, question, or on that motion, do you want them to remain the work sessions to remain at 6:30 and meet here?
Correct.
Now, we used to have 2 meetings in July, and the first meeting was really short because of the reorganization, like transfers and things like that. Or we've already done that, so we don't have to.
That predated us, right? I
Yes.
mean, we had just one meeting in July since I've been here.
Yeah, I don't believe there's a need for 2 meetings in July.
No, I don't.
That was, if Craig remembers it, we always had that first one right away,
Yeah.
and it had to do with reorganization.
That's before they had computers.
It was always the very
Probably the-
first of
probably
July.
the end of year transfers. So you gave authority, what we've done the last 3 years anyway, you gave authority during the earlier in the meeting, you gave authority to do the end of year transfers, and we had the required transfers.
So that's done.
And then we
your
come
motion?
back.
Is your motion
July
made?
after.
Yeah, I made my motion.
We're really, probably more like.
There's been a
August.
motion.
Year's
No.
wrapped up.
No.
And then
I second.
we'll come back Exactly what they were.
I second the motion.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
read it to you.
Okay.
The motion is to approve the BOE meeting calendar for the 23-24 with work sessions being reflected as 10/22/23, 1/22/24 and 3/25/24.
Yeah,
No voting. And 7/15/24 as a regular meeting.
The only thing, it's October 23rd, 10/23.
Oh, geez, sorry.
So I would expect the calendar just reads work sessions instead of board meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
And
Second.
Just discussion, since there will be no action at these meetings, they will not be televised.
I would prefer there not be. They don't have to be.
If there's no action.
Well, they don't have to be.
I don't believe I mean, if you're keeping in
Televising
alignment with
isn't-
other.
Just like a
the
work
city
session.
doesn't do their, televise theirs.
Isn't mandatory.
No.
We do that as a courtesy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not
None
like
of
we
this
have
is
to say that.
mandatory.
It's
No,
just
you
a-
don't have to
No.
stream your board meetings at all. There's no requirement whatsoever.
Okay,
What's the reason why we would do that?
there's no action, and,
So no
But we're
governing.
still working.
and I've heard a lot of people say at board meetings, we want this a work session that's relaxed and people can say and work and go back and forth, and not that some people showboat for the camera, but it happens. Okay, we have a motion and a second. I will call for the vote. All in favor of the calendar of this motion, vote yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, vote no. And the new board members will just have to live with it, whoever's elected.
Their first meeting will be a work session.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. We are at 6.11, personnel transactions that was moved from the consent agenda.
I asked this to be moved just so we could have some discussion on it. We talked about the policy, on the nepotism policy. We were going to talk about it again, and it was kind of pushed down the road. We didn't. I would just like for us to maybe put that on a retreat, because when we have these things come up, I would like to make sure our policy reflects it, and we've had that discussion. So I'm going to vote against it just because every time that there's a situation that happens to do with that, until we've addressed it, I will vote no on it. Has nothing to do with the candidate, it's just that policy. I'd like to have clarification.
Mr. President, I would like to move to approve these personnel transactions because that is the item of business on the agenda.
Right.
As they are presented.
Okay, I second it. And the only thing I wanted to do before we vote is we had one retirement, Bill Nurnberger, is the custodian at Hayes High School right now. I think he's been in several other buildings.
I've served mostly at Roosevelt.
At Roosevelt, and he has put 15 years of service in, so I want to congratulate him on his retirement.
I would like to say congratulations to him. He's served for 15 years, is that what it was?
15 years of service in the custodian. Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the personnel transactions. All in favor, vote yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, vote no.
No.
Alan, you voted yes.
Yes, I hovered over it to keep correct.
You can go up to that red at the
You can
top
do
and
it.
change your
It's
vote.
not- Oh, there it is. Thank you.
Ron, am I correct? No personnel, or no executive session tonight?
Nothing, no.
We do not have an executive session. I will keep calling for a motion for adjournment.
So moved? Second? Second.
Motion is second to adjourn. All in favor, vote yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, vote no. We are adjourned. Thank you. And the ones that stayed for the end, thank you.